So I definitely think that as independent artists start their progression from being a new artist on the block to an established artist in the city, knowing where to put your dollar is going to be more important than having a dollar to put there.
You are now listening to the BV Mobile Apps Podcast. The show is designed to help you grow your mobile app audience and get advice from experts in your industry. Now, here's your host, Sean Garvey.
Good day, everybody. The architect here, Sean Garvey. Thank you for tuning in to another great edition of the BV Mobile Apps Podcast. And I want you guys to stay tuned. Towards the end of the podcast, we're going to give you information on how you can get your app customized through BV Mobile Apps. So stay tuned for that information later on in the podcast. Joining with me on the podcast today, BV Mobile Apps Podcast, we got a great entrepreneur on the telephone lines, and the theme of today's podcast is how people can promote themselves in today's entertainment industry. He is the founder of this great, amazing company called the Promo Vatican, and he's here to give you tips and advice on how to promote yourself in today's entertainment industry. Joining with us right here on the BV Mobile Apps Podcast is Kingpin. Good day, Kingpin. How you doing?
How you doing, your brother, man? Appreciate everybody tuning in and chiming in and get ready to get some of this free game that we're going to give out, man. I'm blessed and highly favored, my brother. And yourself?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad that you took the time out of your busy schedule to give people free game. That is what it's all about. We want to give people the knowledge and the information that they need to be successful in today's market. And how are you making it with the COVID-19 era that we're in, post-COVID-19, or still in the midst of it? How are you making it so far?
So far, Rona free, staying out of the way, staying prayed up, staying out of people's face. It was took a little adjusting. From the beginning, it had me a little worried, but we've been able to find our niche and continue to soar to new heights with our company and helping our clients achieve new levels of stardom and success. So we've been blessed. That's
good, and it's all about keeping it going and staying consistent with it, especially in the midst of the crazy coronavirus that's still happening. Let's talk about the Promo Vatican. Is made up of industry titans, and I love the way you call it industry titans. It's full of them in today's entertainment industry. We're talking about tastemakers. We're talking about DJs, producers, artists, just to name a few. What is the actual goal behind the Promo Vatican?
Well, the Promo Vatican was originally founded as a coalition of the willing, for lack of a better term. We found that promoters weren't the only ones who did marketing and promotions in the entertainment industry. DJs are promoters. Hosts are promoters. Radio DJs, graphic designers are promoters. Managers, publicists, and things of that nature. So we kind of reached out to a lot of our network and extended some of our services to them in exchange for their support or for their feedback on certain campaigns and certain projects. And we came to the realization that there is, in fact, strength in numbers. And that was one of the things that enticed a lot of people to become active supporters and members of the Promo Vatican, if you will, is the fact that we have not just marketers and promoters, but managers, producers, graphic designers, photographers, models, booking agents, and so many other people that are proud to carry the affiliation of Promo Vatican. So originally, it was set up as a way for us to have a deep infrastructure within the music industry to provide us with feedback, which I believe is often more important than support to help these artists achieve the success that they're after.
Everybody has a story about coming up in the business, whether it's the music industry, the television industry, the film industry, and etc. What is your background story? What made you get into the marketing and promotion game where you are at today? What is your background story?
I had a square job. I was working at a warehouse, and at the time, my younger brother was living with me, and one of his classmates had came over to the house, and he was a rapper, and he had asked me to take a look at a contract that a label had given him. And I wasn't versed or anything in the music industry, but in his eyes, I was a responsible adult. So he let me look at the contract, and I thought it was laughable. I encouraged him not to sign it and to speak to his parents before going back to the studio, because it just didn't look right. It was just one sheet piece of paper that pretty much said the kid had to give him everything and was owed nothing. So the next day I was at work and I was speaking to one of my coworkers about it, and lo and behold, one of the employees that I supervised was an artist. He invited me over to his studio after work one day, that night actually, and I sat there for about 12 or 13 hours and watched them record and just got involved in the whole recording process with them, and kind of left with the mentality of, like, this may be something that I really want to pursue. So I got in it with the intentions of, I guess, managing that artist, but I wasn't as plugged in as I wanted to be or as I needed to be. So I had to learn how to start doing things. I had to learn how to print my own CDs. I had to learn how to my own graphic designs. I had to learn different parts of video editing, and anything that we had to pay money for, I had to learn how to do because we didn't have resources. We were all average Joes. We all worked square jobs and hustled for whatever it is that we wanted out of life. And when you're working to pay the bills, pursuing a dream is an afterthought. So I kind of slipped into the marketing and promotions aspect of it. I was always one to want to get to places an hour before everybody to peep the scene, see who it was who was coming in. I always took a different approach to the marketing and promotion aspect of it. So, I kind of fell into it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. And the rest was history after that. And
sure. The rest is history that's still being written, my brother. Absolutely. I've been blessed to be able to help some artists that when I was first getting into the game, I was listening to and was excited about, their videos and their projects dropping. And then, here I am, 15, almost 20 years later, and to be able to help some of these artists continue their career, to be able to help some of these artists, the newfound talent that they've discovered, achieve success, and to help some of these entrepreneurs has been something that has been so rewarding. There's a lot of sacrifice that has to come along with it, but the outcome, in my eyes, will always justify the means.
Can we do a little bit of name dropping, like any artist names you want to put out there that you have helped gravitate or get to the next level? Can we do that?
I was blessed to come in the game under an artist by the name of Chill the $1 Million Man. That's the guy that made it so that I can go into every city in America and market and promote. And when there were artists going to music conferences with 1,000 CDs, I was going to a music conference with 10,000 CDs, 5,000 Ozone magazines with the front and back cover printed, and billboards and buses. So I came into the game doing, larger than life promotions with an artist by the name of Chill the $1 Million Man, and that kind of opened doors for me to where I was able to network and lock in with people like Tony Neal of the Core DJs, and with people like Bigger Rankin, the legend, and with people like Wendy Day, who was one of the first persons that I ever met in the entertainment industry.
Wow.
And, she's alley-ooped me a whole bunch of projects. So we've been able to, and blessed to work with projects like Trey the Truth Plies, Rick Ross, Gucci Man, Waka Flocka, Trinidad James, YFN Lucci, Megan Thee Stallion, Paul Wall, the Sauce Twins, Troy Ave, Hattie Rax, Big Cuz, Only One Scooter, all the young guys out of Atlanta. We've been blessed to be a part of their campaigns from the beginning. Migos, Pee Wee Longway. We've been involved and have had the opportunity as marketing and promotion company to be privy to help some of these artists with some of their song selection and project selection. So us being on the scene kind of evolved for us, and it kind of took us to a lot of different places that the average marketing and promotions company wouldn't be able to get in. Mm-hmm. And that was, one of the blessings that we have. That wasn't something that was planned out, that was bestowed upon us by the powers that be. So, we showed up and we outworked everybody, and it landed us a couple checks in the process. So,
nice.
We've worked with pretty much everybody A to Z, Kevin Gates, T.I., you name them. We've had a hand in it somehow, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you brought up Own Zone Magazine. I was a subscriber of Own Zone Magazine. And before Own Zone Magazine, you had your other magazines and publications that were geared towards the urban audiences. Of course, we can go through the list of a lot of iconic magazines that came out, from XXL to The Source to Vibe Magazine, and the list goes on and on and on. What are the pros and cons behind working alongside with those established publications when it comes to promoting the artists on their platform?
Well, I think knowing, being aware of your surroundings and knowing who it is that you're dealing with and knowing what type of expectation you have. I was blessed to work with Voice Magazine coming into the game. It was a publication based out of Central Florida. And that kind of catapulted me into an opportunity to where I was able to snap pictures for Julie at Ozone. So it went from, at one point in time I was reading the Ozone magazine to having, my pictures as the end zone frame and having, pictures that I've taken from all kinds of events strewn out throughout the magazine. And that just kind of gave me more validity. So I never really brought any of the artists that I was working personal campaigns for. I never really brought them inside of my personal space when I was working professionally alongside with any of these publications. If I was able to influence a decision, if I was able to play some music in a place that the music wouldn't have gotten played unless I did it or things of that nature, I found a way to quote unquote weasel my artist into getting some exposure. But I never used somebody else's platform without their expressed permission to benefit myself or any other artist. I've always been one to believe that the name on the front of the jersey is always more important than the name on the back. So when I go hard for a brand, my individual success lies in the success of that brand. So as bigger and brighter they are, then my accolades and my access and some of the things that I'll be privy to will follow, as long as I deliver on making sure that they're covered and they have the exposure they want.
Absolutely. For those who are just tuning in to the BV Mobile Apps podcast, we are talking to Kingpin of the Promo Vatican, BV Mobile Apps podcast at BV Mobile Apps on all your social media. The architect here, Sean Garvey, and today's theme is how people can promote themselves in today's entertainment industry. From my understanding, Kingpin, you are based in Atlanta, GA, and Atlanta is a melting pot of so many things: film, television, music, arts, culture, you name it. And it's been like that for quite some time now. When I drive down 85 or 75 and I see billboard signs of brands being promoted. I remember back in the day when you went down 85, 75, going towards 85, 75 north into downtown Atlanta. And one of the landmarks at the time here in Atlanta was the So Deaf sign. The So Deaf sign is no longer there anymore. But that lets you know that this is Atlanta. And this is the home of so much talent, so much influence in the music industry. Fast forward to now, the 21st century. Social media is that place to go for marketing and promotions and etc. But as far as billboard signs, Kingpin, can one still utilize that platform to get himself or herself out there? Can they still promote on billboards? Yeah.
Do billboards work? Absolutely, do they work? Mm-hmm. However, just because you have a billboard doesn't mean that somebody doing 60 at rush hour traffic is going to pay attention to what's on it. So, keep in mind the goal. The end goal always has to be factored in. And unless, as an independent artist and as a label, you are prepared to reap the benefits of having 100,000 eyes on your advertisement, then you may want to reconsider that investment and allocate your dollar accordingly. Is it big? Yes. Is it bold? Yes. Is it effective? It all depends on the campaign, where the artist is at in the progression of their campaign. Are they in the discovery phase? Are they in the attention phase? Just like any good marketing funnel that you may read about online, or that you may open a book about or go to school and learn, there are several different phases when introducing a product into the marketplace. And artists are no different. The only problem with that is that most people want to pay to skip to the front of the line. And unless you're an artist that has something going on a billboard is a glorified way for you to pay to get to the front of the line and then get into the club. But, you know, you don't have no section. So you just bucked the line and got in the club, and now you're just going to stand around and do what? And I think that's where most of these artists are after, is they want instant gratification. Not even more so instant success, but instant gratification. They want to know that what they're doing is right, and they suffer from a desire of longing for vanity metrics. Likes on Instagram, posts and reshares, those are all beautiful feelings, you know, because they make you feel like you posted something that was validated by your fan base or your core audience. However, very seldomly does that translate into dollar amounts. And very seldomly does that translate into views on your video, or more watch time, or more streams, or more downloads. So I definitely think that as independent artists start their progression from being a new artist on the block to an established artist in the city, knowing where to put your dollar is going to be more important than having a dollar to put there.
You come across an artist, an up-and-coming new artist, and that person says, well, you know, hey, Kingpin, I'm not so much of a social media person, but they're an artist. they're an artist. They need help branding themselves. What does that conversation look like between you and that new artist that you approach?
Most rappers, most successful rappers that have an image and have a following and have a campaign are, you know, for lack of a better term, street artists. And those guys aren't too social anyways. So, you know, understanding what the platform is for, understanding what the goal of social media is. The whole point of social media, of all social media apps, is to keep you on the app longer. It's not to discover new content. It's not to advertise businesses. It's not to spread the word. It's not to invoke awakening in any particular subculture. It's not meant to dumb you down. The whole point of the app is to keep you on the app longer. So as you navigate through social media, and you navigate through your device, and you navigate online on a daily basis, you feed into your algorithm of life. And based on what you look at, and based on how long you look at it, and based on how you interact with it, is based on how these social platforms give you content. So understanding what social media is and being able to explain that to an artist oftentimes requires a detailed explanation of goals. So one of the things that we like to encourage our artists to do is to provide us with a brief questionnaire that we've developed with some of our team members of questions that we use to then create custom content for all of our clients, and encourage them to share this content on a schedule so that ultimately we can find and optimize the perfect time and date and content to post to gain the most exposure for that particular topic, or whatever it is, whether it's a song, whether it's a video, whether it's merchandising, whether it's a show, whether it's opinion-based, whether it's lifestyle-based. Understanding the 80-20 rule. So for every two advertisements that you post, you're going to want to post 8 lifestyle posts. You know, think about it like this. Every time you're watching a sporting event and a commercial comes on, you change the channel to the next sporting event. If you're listening to the radio in the car and a commercial comes on and they start playing commercial after commercial after commercial, you're going to switch the station and you're going to find the music that you want to listen to. Your social media should be treated the same way, in the sense of where if all you're doing is advertising, then people are going to tune you out. And the more they skip over your images and don't like and don't comment and don't share, the less likelier the platform is to share that same image to any of your other followers that may have similar likings or similar habits to the people that are scrolling by it. So the more content that you post that you feel is getting less action on because people are hating on you or because nobody believes in you, it's actually getting lost in the system because you're not putting out quality content that is requiring your fan base, your supporters, the people that follow you, the people that may not follow you that are going to be exposed to you via the Explore page or whomever they follow, because the Explore page is based off of 2 criteria: people you follow and pictures you like. So everything on the Explore page is there because you either follow people like that or because you like that type of content. So again, always keeping in mind what it is that we're utilizing the platform for usually allows us the opportunity to explain to some of these artists and then offer them a structured plan to where, yes, they have to log in and yes, they have to engage, but it also affords us the opportunity to lay out a set template, if you will, of content that they can pull from every day and post at their leisure within the settings of our tentative schedule, if you will, so that we can find the optimal date and time and content for each one of our clients' potential fan bases.
I want to go back to something you said just a few moments ago, and that's algorithm. And you also said that there is strength in numbers. And so break all that down. Well, first off, what is an algorithm? For those that are not familiar with the term algorithm, we hear that a lot when it comes to marketing and promotion and social media, because our algorithm is a very important thing in social media. So what exactly is algorithm? What is that term?
The easiest way that I can break down the word algorithm would be the rhythm of your lifestyle. So everywhere that you go, and this is how ads work. Okay. Everything that you do on social media, everything that you post, every time you log on your phone, for example, when people were downloading TikTok left and right, TikTok was within the ramifications or the settings of the terms and conditions. One of them was that they would be able to copy all the keystrokes into your phone, into your mobile device. So everything, if you have Snapchat on your phone, everything that you browse on the web, if you go into Snapchat and you go into your settings and you clear your cache, it has thumbnails and cookies that it collects from every website that you visited, whether you had Snapchat open or not. So even if you clear your web browser history, Snapchat still has a copy of that cache in their database, which they use to push advertisements towards you. So the algorithm is pretty much how it is you go about your daily routine and what inside your routine you're most likely to choose from. So if I can, allow me to say this. Sure. Information has replaced oil as the most viable and necessary commodity in the world. Without information, we're lost. Without information, we're at a great disadvantage in this industry, because it goes from being, hey, look at me, to, hey, you over there in the red shirt with the headphones on, I know exactly what you like, come here. And information gives us the ability to do that. And, falling into the algorithm of any platform or of any routine is allowing the system to collect what you leave behind. Just like ads, when running an ad cycle, if you will, a typical ad cycle, has to run for a full 7 days in order for you to see the full gist of your target demographic. So if you have a 30-day campaign, you have to run that campaign for 7 days before you want to make any changes. And if you make any changes to that campaign, you're going to have to run that same 30-day campaign for 7 days first before you get your results back and figure out if you want to make any changes. And if it comes back a third time and you got to make changes again, your 30-day campaign has now become a 51-day campaign, because you've had to run the ad cycle 3 times at the beginning of each 30-day campaign again to reset it. So knowing and understanding the algorithm, how content is shared, how content is viewed, what are the optimal times, what are the optimal channels, what are the optimal hashtags, all of those things are essential pieces of information that major companies and now independent artists are starting to get wind of and capitalize off of the mining and harvesting of that information.
You brought up a great point also, which are hashtags. And what I realized when I first started doing social media, I didn't include hashtags, and I saw a little bit of results from promoting my content on social media. But when I started doing hashtags, I saw a huge difference. And for anybody that is in the business of marketing and promoting, and they need that boost of numbers to start coming in, explain to our listeners why hashtags are very important when it comes to promoting and marketing your brand.
Hashtags are a great way to individualize and separate yourself within a collective. And by that I mean, if you're releasing hip hop mixtapes and you want to target the hip hop crowd, then hashtagging hip hop wouldn't be a bad idea in your campaign. Hashtagging it explore page, hashtagging it trending, hashtagging it hot. That's going to get your post blacklisted. By abusing the hashtag feature, you can actually do yourself a major disadvantage and put yourself in a group to where the post wouldn't even get shared into the stratosphere of the social media world, if you will. Hey man, these computers, there are people that wake up every day and their goal is to cheat the system. And there are people that wake up every day and their goal is to catch those people that cheat the system. So can somebody go out and buy followers? Yes. Is it going to mean they're going to get verified? No. Can somebody go out and buy views? Yes. Does it mean they're going to get their video streamed and liked? Does it mean they're going to get anything? No, it doesn't. So, being able to mine and harvest organic information from releasing music the right way, and hashtags could definitely be one of those ways to see who's sharing similar content. What times are they posting? How much interaction are some of those posts getting? I like to use the at one time, my brother, I was going ham and cheese with the post. Mm-hmm. Man, you're talking to somebody that has, I think the Promo Vatican right now sits at about 140,000 hashtags on Instagram. And that's not myself, that's just everybody that uses Promo Vatican. And then that hashtag became synonymous with hip hop and rap and World Star and some of the other major platforms. So again, my brother, I don't take none of the sole credit for any of the success that my brand and our company and our movement has seen. It's all a direct result through a collection of efforts from industry titans such as BV Mobile. I've used the BV Mobile apps platform for the Promo Vatican app from the very first time that I met the young brothers that had the app at one of the Core DJs conferences, and have encouraged every artist and every campaign and every brand and every movement that I've been affiliated with to get down with the program, because it's ultimately another avenue and another means for us to be able to showcase and highlight our content. So hashtags are definitely one of the most important ways that you could use to individualize yourself in a collective. Find you a hashtag that's relative to you, implement it, use it on all of your posts. Find a hashtag that's relevant to your niche, use it, implement it in all of your posts. Try to keep your hashtags maybe 2 or 3, no more than 8 in any post. If you want to go dumb and you want to go ham and cheese, post your comment, post your picture with a caption, and then right underneath, go in there and make a comment. Go into your iPhone settings, open your keyboard, and save all of your favorite hashtags under a short key. Open your notes tablet in your phone, in your Droid device or in your iPhone device, and go in there and make yourself a note document with all of the hashtags that you want to use for a particular project. So if you're waking up in the morning and you want to post something and you notice that Monday morning motivation, business news, business etiquette, if you notice those things happen to get more activity than normal, try implementing them. Mm-hmm. Tag them all down so you know which ones you have used, which ones you don't want to use. The only way to really figure out what works for you is to get organized and to get itemized. Don't be afraid to be meticulous with information. Going through it with a fine-tooth comb, and that's the reason for the word research. And by definition, it means to search again. Mm-hmm. Look at it again, find it again. And that's what we have to do. We're constantly researching everything that we're putting out and figuring out if it's the right way and trying to optimize it as best as possible so that we can ultimately work while we're asleep. And hashtags are a great way for you to do that, because once you tag it, it's marked for life. And that's a great way for people to be able to find content from new artists where they may not be necessarily looking for an artist. They may be necessarily looking for a niche or looking for a lane or looking for a mood or an emotion. And hashtags and clever use of them are going to be a great way for you to deliver that content to those people that may be looking.
This is a true or false question. A person like myself, I put out content on social media. It could be a still picture of me promoting a album, and it's a still photo of an album cover, and I get 125 views or 125 likes, and I say to myself, okay, that 125 that either saw or liked my picture went to the website and ordered my content. Is that true or false?
False.
Okay.
Just because they saw it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to act on it. Yes, true in the sense of where 125 people saw it, and that's incredible. 125 views, 50 views, 80 views, 20 views, 10 profiles reached is incredible. But what do you do once they viewed you? What are you giving them? Are you able to retain their support? Are you able to provide them with something to click on and then retain them at that next level? So understanding and finding clever ways to put out that same image of you advertising that cover is going to be the catch. So knowing how to post the content, understanding your brand affinity, understanding the use of certain platforms. Twitter, I think it's like 5,000 tweets a second are posted. And then, most artists you meet nowadays tell you, man, I don't use Twitter, bro. You're missing out on one of the greatest information highways and exchanges of information still to this date. And again, that was a platform that was launched at South by Southwest. So another direct product of the urban culture, and now being used and exploited worldwide to share information on a mass level. So definitely, yes, it definitely means that there's the potential for a lead, but false, because somebody liking it on Instagram or seeing it on Instagram is not going to influence them into supporting it one way or the other, unless the content is catered to suit them or to fill a demand or a need. Then, that's why you have to put these campaigns together.
Yeah.
And that's why understanding who you put this product out for is so important, because it allows you to collectively go to those places and make sure that your content is available on those forums and in those platforms and in those areas where your target fan base goes to consume new content. Mm-hmm. So that's why I say a billboard may not necessarily work, man. You get a billboard. I've seen independent artists with 3 or 4 billboards in the city, and I know for a fact they paid a mint for those billboards.
Yeah.
And when I go home, I'll pull up their information and they won't have no playlist ads. They won't have any more streams because the billboard was to say, hey, I'm a rapper with a song. Not, hey, go follow me on this platform, or hey, go do this, or hey, go. It's not a call of action. It's more a declaration or a glorified way to say, I'm here, look at me. And true enough, that is definitely one aspect of promotion, but poorly executed could be a gargantuan waste of money.
Well, what would you say, going back into your profession, what would you say were 1 or 2 mistakes that you either witnessed, or it could be a mistake that you made on your end where it became a very teachable moment for you to make yourself better and to make other artists that you help market and promote better? What would be those 2 mistakes that you recall in the past?
I think one of the biggest waste of money for any artist that may not be prepared to reap the benefits from that particular service is definitely strip club runs. I definitely believe that artists are better suited, building a relationship with that particular DJ or group of DJs for any particular venue, establishing a relationship with some of those dancers, more so than going in the strip club and just throwing an obscene amount of money in the air and expecting people to download your song because of it. I mean, honestly, bro, when was the last time you went to a strip club and was getting a lap dance, eating some amazing chicken wings out of any one of these Atlanta establishments, and heard a brand new song and has to push the off your lap to get the phone out to Shazam it to download the record? It's never happened, not in the history of mankind, and it'll never happen in the history of mankind. So to assume that going into a strip club and throwing $5,000 in the air and then wanting to renege on paying somebody $1,000 to run your ad because you don't see where the money goes or you don't understand how it works puts you at a major disadvantage. So, pissing away money, and listen, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I've been a part of a movement with a label that has gone through and has, spent $1 million in one summer doing 3 clubs a night 10 bottles each club. You know, I've gone through and I've seen artists go into markets and put out 50 or 60,000 CDs and posters to a project that wasn't available on iTunes. I've seen people go in and spend thousands of dollars on a radio campaign, tens of thousands of dollars on a radio campaign for a song that wasn't available on any digital streaming platform, not a Spotify, not a Tidal, not a SoundCloud, not a DatPiff or an AudioMac. So, you know, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's all going to be based off of someone else's opinion or perspective. If I had to tell you guys two people to try to follow in their footsteps or to seek information, definitely Wendy Day is a fountain of information for me still to this day. And it's somebody that I admire not only because of what she's done for the culture, but what she continues to do for the culture. And Russ. I think Russ is another phenomenal example of how doing it your way and finding your lane and finding what works for you. I think Russ is an amazing example of that. And I think the fact that he probably has more Spotify followers than he does Instagram fans is probably one of the major reasons why he is selling out shows, you know, in record amounts of time. So, you know, I think there are still people that are in the game that are still discovering new ways to do it. I don't think there's going to be a right or a wrong way to try to get it done. It's all based on what it is that you have the planning, timing, and infrastructure implemented for. So, you know, if money were all it took, then, all right, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Can I ask you a question? Let me flip the interview around on you for a second.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Floyd Mayweather?
Yes, I am.
Are you familiar with him having a record label?
To a certain extent. I'm not too familiar.
But he has a record label. Would you say yes? Yes,
I would say yes.
A record label?
Yes.
All right. And if somebody had to ask you the name of the record label, or if somebody were to ask you, hey, is the name of his record label Money Team Records? What would your answer be?
I would say yes, because I hear that name a lot, but I have a feeling that that's not his actual record label name.
Well, yes, that's the name of the record label, which can lead by next question. I want you to name one artist signed to his record label. Go.
Not one artist.
You can't think of one, can you?
I can't think of one.
He's probably got a dozen of them. He's probably got 2 dozen of them.
Mm-hmm.
Money isn't the problem. Money is never going to be the problem. If money were the solution, then Kobe would be a successful rapper. God bless the dead. Shaq would have gone on to push 30 million more diamond albums. If money and stardom and fame were the recipe, then Allen Iverson would still have a rap career, and so forth and so on. So, you know, some of these guys have to understand that, you know, sitting around and crying and complaining about money and not having money and not having access to it and not having all of these things, that's not your problem. Your problem is you don't have fans, and you don't release music for fans, and you don't market to fans. You market to other rich celebrities, and you market to tastemakers because you think they can make you fans. And the fact remains still true to this day that unless you're willing to do the things like a Kobe or like a Jordan or like a LeBron, unless you're willing to go into the gym the day after you lose the championship and watch the other team on their parade while you're doing your bench presses preparing for the next season, unless you're willing to do that, you will never see the success that you want. Mm-hmm. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how talented you think that you are. If you don't have a fan base, you have nothing. So Bad Baby may not be a better rapper than 80% of the rappers that are in the industry or trying to break into the industry right now. But what Bad Baby does is she has more fans than them. So she hasn't out-rapped anybody, but she's out-fanned them. And fans are what buy tickets. Fans are what buy merch. Fans are what stream music. It's funny, when Tekashi 6ix9ine went to jail, we were sitting around and we would constantly go look at his stats, and every day he was losing 2,000 and 3,000 Instagram followers. But every day he was picking up 2,000 or 3,000 Spotify followers. To where now, somebody that has never been given the support of the industry, has always been frowned upon by everyone from tastemakers to celebrities to people of influence to people in power. There wasn't one radio program director in the country that wanted to play his records, but you know why they had to? because the people demanded it.
Mm.
Because he dropped 10 number one charting Billboard records in one calendar year. You couldn't deny the music, you had to play it. So to that I say, the winners get treated differently. And when you're winning, you make your rules as you go. Winning changes everything. You know, when Muhammad Ali was at his height and he was against the establishment and the system, and it only mattered because he knocked people's slap out when they got in the ring. He was able to get on TV and mock white journalists, and he was able to say some outlandish things, but it was all forgotten because when it came time to shine, he went in there and he kicked ass. So if you want to be taken serious and you want your words to hold weight and start winning. Start winning. Start being a champion of the people, and things will follow suit for you. And, you know, understanding who it is that you're championing for, who it is that you're trying to fill seats with in the stands, you know, that's going to be the key. Understanding who it is that you make music for, who it is that you're making merchandise for, who it is that you're making these videos for. When you understand that, you've got the world by the balls.
Yeah. And you brought up something that made me think for a moment, because I remember this is before streaming, before internet, before you hear an artist like Future who went gold or platinum during his first day of streaming numbers. that was very.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think that was? You think he had the fan base to go gold?
I think he had the fan base. I think he had the fan base.
No, so Gerald, let me break it down to you.
Okay.
Life is Good was the single that was on that project. So when the album was released, all of the streams from that single counted towards that project streams. This is music business. This is not checkers. This is chess. This is calculated. You think when DJ Khaled drops his album, it streams every hour on the hour across every iHeartRadio station on accident? No. These are all things that are strategically planned. These are all motions that are put in place weeks and months before albums are released. You know, understanding what these platforms are for, and then understanding how to properly utilize them is going to be the key to every artist's success. So if an artist has 15,000 Spotify followers or listeners, and they're not releasing music consistently 21 days after they've loaded it, then they're doing themselves a major disservice. Because by loading it at least 21 days prior to it releasing, it allows Spotify to then send a specified email to all of the followers for that particular artist announcing that a project is coming. And then based on their activity, continues to feed them information based on this artist, thus growing your direct contact within the platform. Man, the world got to hear this, bro. I got to drop it right now. Take a pause for a minute. Pick up the phone, call the person that you love the most in the world, and ask them. As soon as they pick up the phone, ask them, what are you waiting on? If the first reply out of their mouth is, I'm waiting on you to drop your album, or I'm waiting on you to drop your single, or I'm waiting on you to drop your video, ain't nobody in the world waiting for it. Take your time. Do it the right way. Doing it the right way requires timing. It requires execution. It requires a game plan. It requires a pre-release plan, and it requires a post-release plan. And in the midst of executing that post-release plan, there now has to be an implementation for a pre-release for the follow-up record, because every shot that you take is not going to go in the basket. Every at-bat is not going to go out of the park. Sometimes it's going to get you on first base. It may be a double. Sometimes you're going to foul out. Sometimes you're going to swing and miss. Every hit isn't going to be an out-of-the-park home run. So understanding that, and understanding that you're releasing music for your fans, and that if you release music the right way, the proper way, that you will be able to reap the benefits either financially or via information mining and harvesting. Once you can control the type of releases that you have and how you put out your music, and you understand how you want to gather your information, you have now become unstoppable. Because the goal is not overnight success. The goal is crossing the finish line. That's the goal. The goal is to win your race. Find your pace and attack your goal. The minute you worry about crossing it before anybody else, you've already failed because you're missing the point. The next preparation for the next race does not begin when this race ends. It's in the midst of this race that you have to constantly prepare. It's constant preparation that you're doing while you're operating on the fly. Knowing what it is that you have to look forward to can help you solve a situation or solve a problem or avert a problem if one is on the horizon. Knowing when to release music, if you have all of your releases out right and a song is reacting well, it gives you the ability to go in and push all of those other dates back because you want to see what this record is doing, what this video is doing. Understanding that the only way to really get it to playlist is to pitch it. And the only way to pitch it is to have the thing available 21 days before it's supposed to drop. No platform encourages you to pay anybody to get a song on a playlist. Don't take my word for it. Google it. You can't pay Spotify to get on a playlist. That doesn't exist. So understanding what it is that you're trying to get from a particular platform is going to help you put success within degrees for you. It's not a destination. There's levels of success. And once you've achieved that level, there are now obstacles that are going to get in between us and achieving the next level of success, and so on and so on and so on. And the minute you stop growing is the minute you started dying, especially in this business. Because if you have to start over, if you have to stop, then you have to start over.
Enough said from Kingpin. And I love the fact that you are very vocal about that. And this is what people need to know, that especially coming up in the entertainment industry. We have seen so many times, Kingpin, how people got screwed over and got conned in this business because they didn't have the necessary resources or the tools or the knowledge that they need to be successful in this industry. And when it comes to marketing and promoting, it's very important. So I'm very happy that you have that passion in you to let people know, hey, this is what it is. And you got to be able to bring your A game when it comes to marketing and promoting yourself and getting to that next level. You got to do whatever you can to not only stay consistent, but to also see the numbers and to also grow your fan base and grow your audience to where it needs to be. So I love the passion in you. I love how vocal you are behind it. Now, we only got a few minutes left right here on the BV Mobile Apps podcast. Any other actionable items you want to give to our listeners as far as advice on how they can promote and market themselves better in today's entertainment industry? I want to make sure we don't leave anything out, but any other tips and advice you would like to share to our listening audience?
You know, if they want to know the scoop on where they stand within the stratosphere of the artistry world, if you will, they can visit artrevsol.com, ARTREVSOL.com. Snoop around. There's a couple tabs on there that you'll click on and answer a few questions, and somebody on the team will get back with you with some amazing information that you'll be able to use to better your career and to better your craft. Allocate a certain amount of money every month that you're willing to spend on apps to create some of the content that you're going to need to be able to constantly reinvent your marketing and promotions. Understanding and learning how to do things on your own is only going to make you stronger. Understanding what the roles of everyone on your team is and allocating those roles accordingly based on individual strengths as opposed to weaknesses is going to be paramount to your success, meaning knowing who to ask to do what. Everybody isn't meant to see the vision. So some of the people are going to laugh at you when you ask them to do certain things. You just got to find the people that are going to blindly move for you when you need them to. And wake up every day, man, and try to be better than you were yesterday. You know, I wake up every morning and I try to post something online, right, that gives people that extra incentive because, I'm an ex-con, I smoke weed, I'm fat and old, man. I got this white beard. It's driving me crazy, man. I can't sleep at night. I have this clock inside my head, man, that I could only sleep 2 or 3 hours at a time, and I wake up, and then I have to go to work, and I try to wake up when the banks. I joke around all the time. I say I'm awake when the money wakes up. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, when the bank overseas pings, I'm up. My ass is up trying to get to it. So, and that's because more of them an insomniac. And I have this burning desire to be successful more than I want to do anything else in the world. And unfortunately, it's going to take that type of conviction to see any type of success. And I say unfortunate because it means you're going to have to sacrifice more than some people are willing to sacrifice. You know, I've lost everything that's ever mattered to me and loved to me in this business. My family, my kids, my health. I've squandered fortunes. You know, I've hurt so many people, you know, because I had to be selfish and I had to worry about getting the job done. And some of the things that I've done to get to where I'm at can never be compensated for. And there are some of the things that I bring to the table that I could never add to an invoice. And I could never charge somebody for being Kingpin. How do I add that price to an invoice? How do I tell somebody, hey, I'm charging you X amount of dollars because not only can I do what you don't know how to do or you aren't willing to learn how to do or what no one around you knows how to do, but I'm also going to be the one doing it. And people treat me differently when I walk in a room. You just have to see it. How do I put that on an invoice? I can't. I can't justify charging somebody any amount of money because of who I am or because what I bring to the table or how I get it accomplished. Those are just the perks and the benefits to being able to doing business with me and my team. So if I could give any artist that may be listening to this podcast a couple words of advice, definitely invest in a BV mobile app. Get your mobile app, get your music up, link your profiles to it, link your SoundCloud to it, link your playlist and all of those things, and have one centralized location where all of your content can be found so you could then work on the next level, which is verification on all of your platforms. So for those guys that are after blue checks, you need 10 validated pieces of media, and you need a home and headquarters. And what a better home and headquarters than your very own shiny BV mobile app. Also, allocate anywhere between $20 and $75 a month for apps that create graphics and do video editing and can airbrush pictures or add words to pictures or help you create memes and things of that nature. And definitely every day, go on Twitter and Google yourself. Search your name, search your hashtag, search your campaign on every platform. If you're not doing that at least 3 times a day to seeing what new content may have been added or how content that you didn't add relative to your campaign may be reacting or responding, you're doing yourself a major disservice. And finally, get your business together. It's nobody's job to take you to the park. It's nobody's job to root for you. It's my job to pay $60 to go see the game and to let you beat my favorite team. You have to earn that privilege. So stop waiting for people to cheer for you and clap for you for validation. Do what you love. Do it to the highest form that you know how, and everything that you seek will come after that. You know, work, success. What is a success before work? Only in the dictionary.
And one last question before we let you go, Kingpin. Is there an age requirement for young people who want to help, who need assistance in marketing and promotion? Is there an age requirement?
Absolutely not. There's no age. I got a viral couple that I've been working with on social media that they're about, I think they're in their 80s, high 80s. And they dance and they do hip hop and it's amazing what they do. And they have a niche for themselves. And we work with artists as young as 8, 9 years old that put out pop music. So there's no age to this, man. Nice. If somebody wants to get in this and they want to become the next PJ Barnum of the entertainment world, then encourage that, man. Encourage these kids. Give them a voice. Give some of these youngsters a platform and encourage them to be themselves and stop, putting unrealistic expectations. And fun knows no age. There's no age requirement to greatness. There's no age limit on success. Obviously, understanding who it is that you're making this content for is going to tell you who it is that you have to market it for. So if you're a 50-year-old rapper getting into it, then market to 50-year-old fans. There are 50-year-old fans that listen to rap music. Find out who those fans are and where do they go to consume their music because they're still consuming it.
Kingpin, thank you so much. Of course, it is the Promo Vatican. For all your branding, marketing, promotional needs, definitely hit up Kingpin. He is ready and standing by to take your call or email. And matter of fact, before we let you go ahead and give out the social media handle. How can people follow you?
Public information, so I'm going to give y'all everything, man. I'm at Rap Juggernaut on all social media platforms. That's RAPJUGGERNAUT. You can search Promo Vatican on all streaming platforms. We got a couple songs coming out here in a couple weeks with a couple artists we're working with. We also have some amazing playlists that we add all of the artists that we support and rock with and all of our DJs. So, the quickest way to get on any of our playlists is through them. I can be reached at strongfamilyinfo@gmail.com. Feel free to drop me a line, man. Follow me on the gram, send me a DM or whatever. And if you guys want to talk, I never answer the phone. I'm very meticulous with text messaging. So 678-542-6768. If you have some questions or you want some advice, don't text me, send me no links, because I'm going to tell you the same thing, man. This is not the line for that. Go to artrevsoul.com, send me your links there, email me your links. But text messages, man, is going to be the best way to get a hold of me. I'm an open book, man. I tell people where I'm going to be at months ahead of time. I show them what I'm wearing before I leave the house. I post up when I get to where I'm going to go. I post videos and take pictures from that particular cubby hole, and I say all that to say this. I'm not that hard to find, man. There's not very many 6 foot, 250 pounders with a chest length, Snow White beard walking around the rap game. So if you see me out and about, just make sure you scream, "Put me in the game, coach," and walk up on me. I'm going to give you a free email blast. I'm going to service your music for you, your video for you, your product, your brand. But you got to make a scene. You got to see me. You got to "Put me in the game, coach." You do that, you run up on me, I'm going to get your information, and I'm going to give you a free blast, man, just because BV Mobiles gave me the platform to be able to express some of my experiences and some of the tools that I think you guys will need to be successful, man. So if you listen to this and you see me out in the street, man, put me in the game, coach, and I'm going to put you in the game.
All right. Put me in the game. Put me in the game, coach. All right, there you go.
That's what it is, my brother.
All right.
Give me the information. We're going to blast it out.
Absolutely. Well, Kingpin, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for dropping a lot of great knowledge and wisdom to our BV Mobile Apps podcast listeners. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and keep passing on that knowledge to many people coming up in the industry. We really appreciate it.
Long live Bankroll Fresh, man. Long live everybody that has passed away, man. Pop Smoke, all these young kids that have gone too soon, man. This dynasty. There's been a lot of people that have been taking us far too soon, man. Juice WRLD and so forth and so on, man. So big ups to all these young kids right now that are out here struggling, man. Big ups to my team. Of course, it's Core DJs, Cool Running DJs, Team Bigger Ranking, Promo Vatican, Coast to Coast DJs, Definition DJs, Future Star DJs, All Star DJs. Man, the list is endless, man. I salute all my DJ brothers and sisters, and I appreciate y'all for having me on the call, man. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Kingpin, right here on the BV Mobile Apps podcast with Sean Garvey. Make sure to follow me on all your social media at Sean Garvey on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Sean Garvey ATL. And don't forget to go to the website, like Kingpin said. Definitely go and get the app customized through BV Mobile Apps. You definitely need that for all your marketing, promotional, and branding needs. It's bvmobileapps.com. Customize your app today, bvmobileapps.com. And make sure to send us an email to podcast@bvmobileapps.com. That's podcast@bvmobileapps.com. Until the next podcast, Sean Garvey signing off, and take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.
It's a new year. It's a new day. We're starting it over, starting the day.
Thank you for listening to the BV Mobile Apps podcast with your host, Sean Garvey. For more information about BV Mobile Apps, visit the website, bvmobileapps.com. Don't forget to follow BV Mobile Apps on social media at BV Mobile Apps. Tune in again next time on the BV Mobile Apps podcast.